I'm not going to listen to anyone. I've done enough of that. People are going to listen to me when it's time, at that time. So that's where my head was at, you know? I want to make decisions, make money. These guys don't know how to make money, you know? All they cared about was getting high. I wasn't getting high because I was out of state. I had to be on my toes, not on my heels. So I just instituted everything like it was a neighborhood back home. That's how I ran everything when I got down to Yuma. Everything was lockstep, you know, make money. If I need to hear from you, you're fired. You know, stuff like that.
So being from Boston, you end up in Arizona, right? And you're in Arizona, you end up going to prison over there. What's prison like in Arizona for an East Coast dude?
Well, it's different. They aren't using, you know, back home, you're Irish or Italian. Most of the Italians go to the feds. So everything is just plain, hey, what are you? And I was like, yeah, I'm Irish, I'm Italian. I got Sicilian blood in me. So they wanted to know if I was Mexican. I say, nah, man, I'm fucking Irish and Sicilian. They go, no, are you white? And that caught me off guard, you know, of course I am. And from there, I knew it was just a little different. You know what I mean, Chad? Just a little different.
Let's talk about this, right? Like where you grew up at. Did you grow up in Boston?
I born in Dorchester, right on Washington Street as it went into South Boston. But during the busing, if you've ever seen The Departed, they show the busing issue at the beginning. So my father had 5 boys and turned out to be all athletes. So he wanted to move us to another city. So we moved to Brockton, where Rocky Marciano's from, Marvin Hagler. So we end up growing up in Brockton, which right now is probably, if you listen to what they say, it's the worst city in the state of Massachusetts. But it was great when I was here, 70s and 80s. It was beautiful.
What was your life like growing up over there? I mean, you come with your father working, your mother working. What was life like for you?
My father's a retired Boston fireman. My mother was a retired VA nurse and played sports, just went to school, just paid attention to our work and just played sports. It was a great sports environment. Like my father told me later on when I got arrested, because you must have been a late bloomer. Because I didn't get in trouble all my whole life. You know, went through college, Marine Corps, then boom, out of the Marine Corps, I just started, you know, taking the wrong decisions or getting caught, at least, you know.
Say making the wrong decisions, right? Like what type of decisions were you making? What were you doing in your life?
Selling drugs back home. Me and my twin brother, we knew some guys from Washington Heights. So this was in the late 80s when the price was probably about $17.5 for a bird. So we were grabbing a couple of those at a time. And it's just, you could see everyone that I went to school with was all coaching and teaching. And I was out there running the streets with my twin brother. And it became an issue where, like they tell you, don't be your best customer. So I started dabbling a little because there's so much of it. So just to get away from that, I came out to Arizona. My parents are retired out here just to kind of fucking dry out for a couple months. And that, you know, I haven't been back since. And that was like 93, September 93.
So in 1993, you head to Arizona trying to, get off the drugs, step aside from what you were doing, change your life. You get to Arizona. What's life like in Arizona?
Well, we're up north. And it's where my parents finally settled in is, it's like back home. They got the 4 seasons, not as extreme. So it's beautiful out here. And it's just, the town I'm in, Prescott, it's easy to slow down than to speed up. You know what I mean? Like if you sent some kid from this town back to Boston, he'd be lost. But it was easier for me to slow down. And when I started working, I asked the fella, I said, hey, man, where can you get some cocaine? He goes, well, it'll take us a couple of days to get it. We got to go to Phoenix. I said, good. Couple of days, forget it then. So that helped me out within reason. But it was just different. It was just as much of a cultural, punch in the face as the joint was. Because I did some county time back home, and you did time. You stayed with you, ate with your town, you worked out with your town. Like in the joint, Charlestown stuck together, Southie stuck together, Dorchester, Somerville, all those guys. You just stuck together with your own crew, and that was it. The kids you grew up with.
So you're in Arizona, you're looking for some cocaine, you don't get it, but eventually, man, you end up going to prison for a long time, like 17
Yeah.
years, right?
Well, you could walk into a store here, Chad, and buy a gun back then with no backup, no nothing. They'd say, "What do you want?" So that was probably bad. And I ended up getting a job at Ruger. It's right down the street from where I live right here. And after 6 months, they give you a free gun for working there. So I'm going downtown getting in fights all the time, brother. Every weekend I'm getting in a fight. All these guys are bumping into you, so I'm fighting them. And it just got to a point where I was didn't like getting pushed into by these people. These people being these fucking homegrown kids out here. So I'm getting kicked out of a bar. And I told the bouncer, I said, "Hey, just let me go home. Don't put your hands on me. Let me go home." He goes, "Yeah, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'll shoot you in the face." He goes, "Yeah." And he tapped me on the shoulder. I said, "I'll be right back." And I came back and I said, "Hey, remember me?" And that was it. Luckily he lived. He probably didn't deserve it. And I probably did. Every day I did, I probably deserved because of it. But it was so much time. They gave me 15 on that. Then I ended up coming back for another 4.5. Total of 17.
Let me ask you this. So you go back, you shoot him. How many times do you hit him?
Once in the head. He fell down, so the rest of the bullets just were where he was. My Marine Corps training, I could shoot. But I'm glad that it hit him right here. I'm glad that, he's still around and I'm still around. Because, maybe a little over and I'm on death row and he's gone, which, like I said, he didn't deserve.
On death row and he's gone. So you hit
Yeah.
him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you run away. I mean, what happens?
I just took off and it's a small town, so they knew I was in the bar. So I knew a couple people in there. I guess they got up in line. They lined up to tell on me. Everyone. So I was with another fella, and he goes, "Hey, let's go get some beer." I say, "Hey, man, I just shot that cat." He goes, "Nah, I said, "I swear to God." He goes, "I know I did." He goes, "Man, let's just," I said, "All right, you want to get some beer?" He goes, "Yeah, man, if we get pulled over, I'll take the beef." I said, "All right." Grab some beer at the Circle K as we're coming back around so I can come back to where I live. Fire department, police department, boom, detectives pull us over because they saw the car I was in. And I go, "Well, what's up now?" He goes, "Man, I didn't think we were going to get caught." I said, "Man, just shut your mouth for this weekend. I'll take the beef. It's my gun, my crime. You'll be out Monday. Just keep your mouth shut." And that was it.
So now, how old are you at the time?
28, 29.
28, 29 years old. They charge you with what? Attempted murder?
Kept the first degree because I told them I'd be back.
What are you thinking in your head? Are you like, damn, I'm going to prison for the rest of my life?
So I ain't going home for a long time. That's for sure. That's what I told him. I said, "Hey, man, shut your mouth." I go, I ain't going home for a long fucking time. So just be quiet and you'll be out of here Monday. Cause this was, I think it was a Friday or Saturday night. I said, "I'll take the hit. My gun." Got the fucking stupid gun in the trunk, still smoking. And that was it, brother. I got to settle in. They gave me 2 blankets that night. Said, "Find some place on the floor." I said, "This is it." By myself.
And you never made it out on bail, nothing. This was it.
No. Because I was on probation from Boston. So they canceled the bail. Yeah. There was no way. And whatever the bail was, it was too much anyways, But yeah,
Now,
they
do you go to trial or do you plead guilty?
fought it and fought it and fought it. And the way they're doing it out here, they're throwing everything at you. So I was looking at 67 years. So we got a nice lawyer, Billy Lee Hicks. He's the top lawyer around here, defense. But he's like, hey, he told my parents, he goes, I don't know if I want to represent Rich because he's too cavalier about this. So my father and mother come in and visit me. They go, hey, man, stop acting like you don't care. I said, I do care. Well, what do you want me to do? Cry? He goes, well, the lawyer thinks you don't care. I said, well, I'll tell him I care the next time he comes in. So we gave him some money. So we got everything down. I said, all right, I'll plead. And he goes, you want a mitigation hearing? I go, no, I don't want my parents paraded up there. How do you even try to fix it? This psycho son shot someone at back for getting kicked out. So they're going to give me 21 years. And my lawyer goes, do you want the mitigation hearing now? I go, yeah. So another 3 months to give me a mitigation hearing. And people fly in from back home, you know, and they're trying to paint me up to be a choir boy like the district attorney said. But they ended up dropping it down to 15. And I took a plea because there was other people in the car that were ready to tell. So I don't even want to, you know, when we left, because I was there with.
You get the 15 piece. You're on your way to Arizona State Prison. You're from the East Coast. You're from Boston. Got the hard accent. Yep. What happens when you walk into that prison system?
Got to go through the reception center is Alhambra. So I'm there. So they don't know what to do. So usually you're there for a couple of days. So I'm there for 6 fucking weeks. And they go, well, we got 2 places you can go to. You can go up to Winslow, which is a high 4-yard, or you can go to Central Unit. I said, what's the difference? They go, Central Unit's the shock tank. I said, all right, send me to Winslow. I don't know anyone. No big deal. So I get to Winslow, and it's up there. It's, you know, the distance is up there. So after about, you know, and I'm not talking to anyone, and it's the same thing. You got your paperwork. Boom, here you go. Bang. All right, you're all set. This is how it is. You can't sit in the back row. Those are the fellas, or who the fellas want to sit there. I say, hey, no big deal. I don't know what the fellas are, but I've been learning things. I was in county for about 9 months. So I was picking up things. Fellas, I don't know. You know, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And 'cause like I said, back home, you sit with the town you're from. So finally, things start coming around. And after about 5 months, they moved 200 of us down to Central Unit, because CB2 and Central Unit at the time was the state's PC unit, super PC unit. So now they don't have enough room, so they're going to put them up in Winslow on half the yard. That's going to be their yard now. They're opening up CB2 on May 6th, 1996. That's, I used to ask people, so when were you in CB2? If they said before that date, you know, they're dirty. So anyways, they moved us all down there, and this was like an old school jail. They filmed that movie, Raising Arizona, and that other movie with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor in the 70s or 80s. They filmed that movie there in Central Unit. Anyways, it's like an old school. It's the oldest prison in the state of Arizona. It used to be the old territorial prison. They had to march it up from Yuma all the way up to Florence. So it's like a jailhouse, you know, you hit the fucking cup on the bars. That's exactly what it's like. So I just, you know, I said, hey, fuck it. Might as well stop making my move here. Stop, instead of having this much room, I want that much room. And they had CB3 where all the known gang members are in each race. So they're sending over messages. And so I picked up a couple messages and did some work. And the last piece of work I did sent me to SMU2 for 6 years in their Supermax. That's where all the guys are. They're all validated.
Let me stop you for a minute. They're sending over messages. They're having you, they want you to put in some work. What are you doing? What type of work are you putting in? People that watch these shows don't always know what work is.
Heavy duty work where the guy leaves. And if, you know, he's lucky if he can leave. You know what I mean? They're taking helicopter rides out from the spot that I dropped them.
All right, so let's
And
talk about it. You end up, what do you stab somebody over there?
I put in some serious work. Yeah. I'm still paying $15,000 for medical bills. And this was 97, 96. So I'm doing everything I can, Chad, to win. You know what I mean? Plus 20 years of wrestling, I'm a good athlete. I can use my hands. I know what I'm doing.
The
But
victim. Why do you have to put in this work on this dude?
well, they're sending a message over. They say, hey man, there's a guy in this building who told on some of us. Plus, and then they sweeten it. And I was new to the joint. And he's also a child molester and this, and this. And I'm like, all right, I can find someone to do it. And they go, who you going to find? I said, me. So I was always stepping up. You know what I mean, Chad? Whenever they had an issue or a job, it was always me first. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do it. And that's how it ended up. Me going over to Supermax for all those years and being with the guys that validated.
I want to ask you a little bit more, though, right? I want to
Yeah.
ask you, because we got to get into it. We can't just like, oh, well, I did this.
I know.
So this guy, he ends up getting victimized, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, whatever bad dude, prison politics
Yeah.
dictate. You say you got to pay these bills. You're still paying these bills. What happens to the dude?
Oh, I tried to kill him, and he didn't die. A couple of them didn't die. And I remember what my mom told me when last time I saw her in county. She goes, don't kill anyone in there. I want you to come home. I said, well, if someone's going to try to kill me, Mom, I'm going to do what I can. But, these dudes, they were legit child molesters. And so I'm caving their heads in. And the last time I see the kid's eyes rolling back in his eyes, and they got gun towers in the chow hall. One more time, I'm shooting. Me being a wise ass, I go, one more? Oh, yeah. And I just gave him one more. But so if they pick up a guy right from the ground, instead of bringing him to the infirmary, you got to pay for everything. So the rest of your money that you ever get, they take 10% out. So then I hit a guy again. I figure, all right, because the first one, thousands of dollars. I go, shut up. They're going to put money on, they're going to stack it, but they don't stack it. They put it together and it's still only 10%. So I'm like, I could be doing this the rest of my life and not even have to worry about it. But I figured I was going to stay there forever.
Ask you this, you say you thought you were going to stay there forever. So is that why you're putting in this work? You think, fuck it, if I kill someone, I'm never getting out. And this is just what my life is.
Exactly. I got so much time. Got 15 years. I'm in maximum security now. They told me, they gave me a decision, go to Winslow or go to Central Unit. I figured I'd go to Winslow. I can do my time, make it down to a low yard and just relax and go home after so many years. 85% there. The state had 85%, just like the feds. So I figured I'd, do 13 on 15. But, cause I didn't know anyone. I'll just do my time, keep by myself. For the first 3 months, I didn't talk to no one when I was up in Winslow. But now we're in Central Unit. This is where they said was a shark tank. And now they're putting me down there. And I hadn't did anything wrong. Hadn't got a disciplinary hearing or anything. Not even screwing around, just doing my time, going to chow, coming back, working out on the rec yard. But now they stuck me in Central Unit with all these guys. I'm like, all right, you guys want to put me in here? I'm going to earn my spot here. I ain't going to be one of these guys that just moved in because they needed to make space up north. So I'm going to earn being in Central Unit. And I didn't think it was going to be as long as it was.
You caught some more time, right? Did you catch more time for jumping on these dudes?
No. Nope. They just stuck me in the hole for 6 years straight. I ended up coming back after I got out for another 4.5, but that's a whole different story. After my career, after that 13 years, they were on me 24/7 when I got out. But that was in. That's another.
But let me ask you this, though, right? So
Yeah.
you end up doing 6 years in the hole. they validate you as an Aryan Brotherhood of Arizona gang member, correct?
Not yet. When I come back for the 4.5, they finally validate me. They didn't have enough points because they put me in the hole with them. They can't give you points for talking with your neighbor. I wasn't writing letters to people because that's how they get you also. I was there when that place opened, SMU 2, Browning unit now. So when you're on the yard sending mail to someone in the hole, you're getting points, document points. Once you get so many points, they validate you. And a lot of these guys, they go to the validation hearing and they just say, yeah, that's me. You know, they give themselves up. So after my 6 years, they send me to Yuma, the satellite yard for undocumented gang members. But I was with them for so long. I'm friends with all these guys. I remember SSU told me, better be careful down there. We're getting ready to put a package on you. I said, what are you talking about? There's all those guys you're friends with. I go, you put me next to them. He goes, well, you didn't have to talk to them. So what are you, fucking crazy? But yeah, that was it. You know, I ended up going down to Yuma after getting out of the hole after all those. It was like I just came to prison because no one knew me, which I didn't care. But after 6 years in the hole, the only people that knew me were the people that counted. So they'd say, hey, Boston's on it.
Let's talk a little bit about that, right? You're a young man. You come into the Arizona Department of Corrections. Is it a violent place when you get there? I mean, is there
very violent? People are getting left in the chow hall. There's 2 chow halls. This is in Central Unit. They got guns in the chow hall. You know, everyone's putting in work. They got the MA. They got the Mau Maus. And they got us. They got the chiefs. And then they just got people that, you know, the hanger-oners of each race. But everyone's Central Unit's the last stop until you get validated. Then you go, or until you prove yourself to be too violent to be on the yard, you know.
I want to ask you, your aspirations. You're a white dude from the East Coast. Your aspirations like, yo, bro, I'm in a dangerous place. I got to tip up with these AB dudes. Is that your aspiration in your mind? Like, I got to be a part of this?
No, not at first, but I'd done so much whole time. And I didn't get picked up until I had 9 years in. And they grabbed me and I was down in Yuma. And they wanted me to just take care of the stuff down there for them. And being from back home, I know what organizations are. A lot of these guys, all they want to do is get high today, not high for the rest of you know what I mean? They want to have money in their pocket today. They're not thinking about, maybe I could have money for the rest of my life when I'm in here if I do it right. But all they want to do is burn it. Whoever they got, whatever they got, they just want to in and out and hit the road. You know, there's no organizational structure on the ads at the time when I was there.
What's it like in the hole? You know, you do years in the hole. What's it like to be in the hole?
Well, being a wrestler, you know, you're running at night by yourself. You're in the sauna by yourself. You're out there on the mat by yourself. I enjoy reading. I enjoy working out. And that's it. Got a good routine going. But I'll tell you, there was sometimes, Chad, swear to God, I'll be walking in my cell going, man, I got to get out of here. I mean, out. I need to go outside. There were months where I didn't even see the sun, you know, and you just, man, I need to get out of here. I need to, you know, breathe fresh air. And I just walk and walk and walk and walk. And I'd finally my mind would be settled down, grab a book and do a little reading, watch Days of Our Lives, you know, whatever, you know, work out. But just try to keep my mind, you know. My mother used to say, the worst thing we're worried about is if you get institutionalized. I'm like, I ain't institutionalized, man. I came home, I was institutionalized. It became where those walls started feeling very comfortable. That's when I knew I had a problem. You know, I wasn't one of those guys that wanted to stay forever. But if I'm going to make it worth my while. I'm going to stay here with every decision-making possibility in the world, if I can.
Let me ask you this, right? You get involved in the gang life, right? I mean, do you feel like, yo, this is my brotherhood. I love these dudes. These dudes got my back. I got their back. You're in the hole with some of the big dudes. What's it like inside? How does a person feel inside when they become part of, this Aryan Brotherhood gang, this Aryan Brotherhood organization in Arizona?
Hey, SSU came to me and they're talking to me. They're going, "What's going on? Why are you getting involved?" And so this pretty much will answer some of that. They go, "Are you looking for protection? You need to be around people?" I go, "No, I brought more to the table." And the guy goes, "Well, we never heard that one before." I said, "Well, hey, but I knew so many of them were, if I'm getting kept in the hole or I'm getting put on a satellite yard where it's 130 degrees all day, I'm going to start picking up what I deserve, And I knew all the old guys. So you see some of these young kids coming through, and it's just, I had enough time, and then finally, wherever I went, it was just a matter of fact, So, of course, those guys were my friends, but it was more than that. It's just, I wanted to be able to, like I told, hey, I had this much room, I wanted this much room. And when I left that place, I had that much room.
So you feel you had, even though you're from the East Coast, you had a little power, a little pull.
Yeah. At the time, it was probably more than that. Me and my buddy Jay Boy, he was my right-hand man, down there in Yuma. He fell out of the same county up here, Yavapai County. So, and he was from Costa Mesa, and he's like, "Hey, these guys from Arizona." I said, "Jay, you can't blame these guys because they're not from California. They don't have to fight every time they come out of the cell. It's not ongoing war." But it was just, if I was going to be here, Chad, I was going to try to recoup or get everything I could. I'm not going to listen to anyone. I've done enough of that. People are going to listen to me when it's time, at that time. So that's where my head was at. I want to make decisions, make money. These guys don't know how to make money. All they cared about was getting high. I wasn't getting high because I was out of state. I had to be on my toes, not on my heels. So I just instituted everything like it was a neighborhood back home. That's how I ran everything when I got down to Yuma. Everything was lockstep. Make money. If I need to hear from you, you're fired. Stuff like that.
So you kind of like, when you get the Yuma or whatever, you become the shot caller there, so to speak?
Pretty much. After about my year and a half there, it was mine. And
these dudes, these Arizona dudes accepted that. Just, you're from the East Coast. They're letting that East Coast dude tell them what to do.
Here's what it was. They'd complain up to the guys over in SMU too. All my friends that were old time brothers. And they'd get a hold of me, the old brothers, go, "Hey, boss, and every time we hear about them complaining about you, we know you're doing the right job." And that was it. And I made sure they got 50% instead of 25%. I always made sure they were happy,
Look, we got a homie, man, from Boston, right, in the federal prison system, Stevie. And he's a big shot, man. I think he had the yard in Victorville or Atwater at one time. AB, East Coast dude. Serious dude. Dangerous dude from the East Coast, and they respected him, and he was the boss. He was the shot caller. So it does happen. For people that think that it don't, it does happen. And
they try not to let it happen if they can do something about it. But if you fight your way to the top, leaving people around you, and my thing was, I'm taking it. If I could take it from you, you don't deserve it. And that's how I went down there. My buddy, old timer from the 70s. Yeah. He goes, "Just stay in the shadows for a while and see what's going on." And that's what I did. Stayed in the shadows for a while. Just watched. And finally, they said, "All right, you're all set. You're ready. We got you. You're with us. Implement what we wanted you to do." And that was it.
So you had some direction from the top guys that you spent 6 years with in the hole. You got close with them guys, built relationships, built friendships.
Yep. And they told me, just stay low, watch, see what's going on. We'll let you know. And then when they let me know the next day, it was mine. I got the message. Guys were like, hey, Boston. I said, hey, man, you didn't know me yesterday. Don't know me today. And that was it. You know, you didn't shake my hand yesterday. I was just a cat from Boston. But now this, I go, what's changed? I knew what changed, but I haven't changed. And that was pretty much
violence? What about the violence from the AB in Arizona and the white dudes? Are they violent dudes?
they're like I said to you, you tried to stop racial issues. Someone owes a bill, doesn't want to pay it, we take care of it. We're going to take care of it violently, so we ain't paying. Someone fucks up, and it's usually just white on white, old scores, 20 years ago. Dude would say something, call would come down, we take care of it. And mostly all the stuff was white on white because we had to police our own. We wouldn't let other people, we didn't want to eat our own, but we had to police our own. The only time I wanted to hear from the people on the other side of the yard is if it was a racial issue. They had 2 buildings, 4 pods in each building. I had a guy running each pod, then a guy running that half of the building, then a guy running that building, then a guy running the yard. If I had to hear from the guy running the pod, he's fired. You know what I mean? It would have to come. And the only time I wanted to hear anyone, if there's a racial issue, if you can't run what you're doing, you're fired. There's always going to be another guy. And I know they hated it because me and Jay was from California. I was from Boston. Hey, here's what I'm dealing with. Hey, Boston. I go, yeah, what's up? How can you be a Patriots fan? I go, what are you talking about? You're not from New England. You're from Massachusetts. This is what I'm dealing with. These are the people. That's their brain fucking power. I go, Massachusetts is in New England, fucking retards. But that's, those are the kind of people I'm dealing with. These are the kind of people, Chad. I'm in the hole and I hear this kid, I'm talking to this kid, he's talking to someone upstairs in an event. He goes, man, I couldn't wait to come to prison. I'm like, hey, back east, we try to get away with it. We ain't looking forward. All they want to do is go to Adobe Mountain together, Catalina together. Then they graduate to prison. This is what they want. I said, I can't believe you guys, man. So we do everything we can to get away with it back home. It's a patch of shame if you get arrested back home. You must have been really fucking fucked up. When I went back, they were like, hey, Rich, man, it's good to see you. Boston, it's good to see you again. I go, I don't know why, man. I'm fucking losing. They go, what do you mean? I said, fuck, I'm no good at this. I go, I'm arrested. I go, no, we're all good. I said, no, we ain't. We're all failures in here. Every one of us failed. Papa, be good. But that was a mindset,
A friend from New York over there, didn't you? You ended up doing something to one of the cops, right?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Block. Leroy Cropper. He ended up, hey, the case is over. He's been on there for 30 years on death row. And everyone around him that was there, they made it look like it was a family hit, but it wasn't. So a lot of those guys paid the price for it. Leroy went right to death row. But Eugene and Dino, and they had this one guy telling on everyone. They had him on TV, on the news, with his face blacked out. So he was in the pod when it happened. And this dude's telling and telling and telling, and he thinks he's going to be okay. These motherfuckers hit him with a life sentence too, after he told on everyone. And fuck, and yeah, but Leroy, yeah, the Padlock. They called him Padlock for a reason. He got into that tower, and that was it.
So what do you do? He goes into the tower with the cop and does what?
Tried to cut his head off. The cop that stepped on his mother's pictures. His mother had just passed away.
He was a New York guy. So the cop steps on his mother's pictures. The New York guy says, you know what? I'm getting inside of here. He gets inside there and takes the cop out.
Yep. Exactly like that. He had 3 months to go, Chad. Staten Island, 3 months. I told him it. We were in VCU together over in SMU2. I'm like, hey, man, what the fuck? He goes, hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I said, I hear you, man. I go, but what the fuck, man? You're rotten to the core. Give him a hard time. The Big Apple. I go, man, you got worms coming out of you. He goes, well, what are you going to do? And like I told you, he tried to pull the insanity thing when he was going through trial. They took pictures of his wall and said, Padlock 1, DOC 0. So they used that. They go, you weren't insane. You knew what you were talking about. But yeah, fucking Leroy, he's still there right now, man.
On death row, had 3 months to go, kills a cop, and now he's never getting out of prison.
Ever. Every time he comes out of that motherfucker, they're fucking on him. I mean, every time. They're 6 deep. They come in with the move team when he's got to go to visit, when he's got a legal visit. And they used to put him into the worst VCU pod possible, where people throwing shit on you, piss, yelling all night long, pounding on the cell all night long in turns so they can fucking keep all the other guys up, the guys that put them in there like years ago. And you get caught in 2, assaulting an officer or weapons, they put you in VCU. And if they really don't like you, they put you in pod 2 of VCU, where all those heavy duty fucking super scumbag child molesters, the whole place smells like shit. They're playing with this shit, throwing shit on you, throwing piss on you. That's what Leroy has to deal with the rest of his life. I say, hey, what happened, man? Yeah, they threw my TV off the tier. They threw this. I go, what'd you do? He goes, I didn't do anything. I got mine. He goes, they can throw my TV if they want. Because they just cuffed me up and fucking fucked me up a little. But that dude's never coming back. Because I'm getting a sack lunch tomorrow. I said, I hear you.
So he really no remorse for killing the cop. He's like, yo, I got mine. I'm take whatever they get,
That's
whatever
it.
I got coming now.
That's it. He goes, bring it on. You want to escort me? You want to do this? You want to do that? Bring it on. I got mine.
Right? You end up getting out from doing that bid. You said you'd go back with another little bit of time. What'd you go back for?
Yeah. All right. So I get out on a Friday. I don't have to report till Monday. So I'm talking to my PO. So we finished talking. Guy's a good guy. He goes, hey, got some people from Phoenix coming up to talk to you. I go, who? He goes, well, you'll see when they come in. So they got a couple FBI agents and a liaison from the state. They go, we heard your name a lot. We wanted to put a face to the name, blah, blah, blah. I'm just, hey, man, I'm just an Irish kid from Boston. He goes, yeah, you're more than that. I said, I don't think so. Whoever's talking's talking out their ass. He goes, no, whoever's talking knows what they're talking about. So at the end of the thing, they go to give me the card. They go, maybe, you might have a question for us. Maybe you have, we can answer a question. We might have a question for you. I said, I don't want your card. They go, just take it and tear it up when we leave. I said, hey, I don't want to touch it. And the guy goes, well, we know why they like you, but you ain't going to like it when you see us again. I say, hey, I don't like it right now. And so after that, they were on my ass. I was doing a bunch of things, but finally they had a SWAT team come in my house. I was living in Glendale. And they ain't like the movies where they hit the battering ram. They blew it up. So it cracked my foundation all the way up to the attic, blew my door in. And always being smart, there's nothing in the house. I go, hey, man, what the fuck? What, you got to come in so deep for while you shot people? I said, yeah, well, and plus you would have got rid of the evidence. I go, what evidence? They go, you can't have a pocket knife. Prohibited possessor, 4.5 years. That's it. And there's some other shit that maybe in another time we can talk about, Chad, that led up to my 4.5 years. But I did 4 on that, 13 on the other, so it was 17 altogether.
They give you 4 for a pocket knife?
4.5, yeah. Prohibited possessor. Hey, funny thing is, they OI'd me on it. So when they came in and blew my door in, I go, hey, why didn't you knock? Go, well, you would have got rid of the evidence. So I miss a court date. They OI'd me. The judge goes, you going to report to court? I go, yeah. He goes, this is all you got? And they're going, yeah. The gang prosecutor, Ellen Dahl. This is all you could, yeah. So I miss a court date. I'm looking outside my yard. I see a couple SUVs, people walking around the neighborhood, and I hear knocking on the door. I go, yeah, what's up? Violent warrant task force. I go, what are you knocking for? They go, you told us to knock. Oh, you guys are fucking assholes. Open the door. And Papa, that was me, Papa. So I opened the door, just turned around and cuffed up. I go, you guys are fucking assholes. Well, you told us to knock. But yeah, they were just, everything I ever got away with, Chad, that was at 4.5. And they told me the day before I left, this time, next time you come back, you're never leaving. So it's been 9 years, brother. I've been working, taking care of life, winning, like I told.
Put the gang life behind you.
Way behind. Way behind.
Now? You working?
Construction. I came back to the house where my parents were living. They both passed away, and I'm still here. My ex-wife gave me this dog right here, Papa Blueberry. So now I owe my ex-wife for the rest of my life because she gave me this awesome dog. But that's it. You know, just working. You know, I hear you, Papa. Just working. And
how old are you now?
59 years old.
All the time you did, right? What's your biggest regret? What's your deepest regret about your life?
Getting caught.
Getting caught. What was the hardest times in prison?
When I went back. Because now I have a wife. And like when I went the first time, I don't have children. Never had children. Didn't have any girl in my life. When I went back, my wife. And it was just the way it happened. I would have been happier getting pulled over with a trunk full of drugs or whatever, but not with a pocket knife, you know. But I knew it was old wounds that they wanted to heal over. Because every time they tried to get me, I was just a little sharper than the average guy out there, you know. And, you know, because they were trying. And like I said, that could be for another time. And I'll explain that whole situation.
Maybe we'll do a part 2, man. Listen, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, sharing your experiences, giving us a little bit of a look into Arizona. Next time, maybe we'll get a little bit deeper. I want to tell people, if you like what we're doing, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.